In the wake of President Trump's efforts to limit the number of international students at universities here in the U.S., some foreign students are looking outside the U.S. to study. As the New York Times reports, if the Trump administration wins a legal fight over its crackdown on Harvard and international students, one of the hardest hit groups will be students from China. The move is now raising the question over how it will impact universities across the country. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd joins us. And Sam, first off, just how significant would the loss of international students be to the U.S.?
Well, Lindsay, if foreign student visas are paused or canceled altogether, there will be several immediate impacts. First, as you mentioned, from a talent perspective, a lot of foreign students come here to study and end up remaining in the U.S. and contributing talent. This helps drive the U.S. economy, drive U.S. innovation, and more. So there'd be a huge loss from a talent perspective. From an economic perspective, foreign students last year contributed over $40 billion to the U.S. economy. So there would be a very significant economic hit as well. I will say, just to balance this all out, I was responsible for screening and vetting policy at the Department of Homeland Security under the Biden administration. And it is worth noting that certain foreign students do pose a significant counterintelligence risk to the United States. And that's why this is all about a balance between security risks and the potential impacts of shutting down the program to the U.S. economy and from a talent perspective as well.
But that said, the vetting procedures are already in place.
The vetting procedures are in place, but the Trump administration is recommending is that an additional layer be implemented that looks more closely at all foreign students' social media profiles. Now, social media vetting is already in place for certain foreign student visa applicants, but it is not totally used across the board. And we are learning, Lindsay, that what the Trump administration is going to be looking at social media profiles for may differ than what the Biden administration looked at. The Biden administration looked for security threats, counterterrorism, counter-narcotics, counterintelligence. And we are learning that the Trump administration, for example, might view statements that are critical of Israel's war in Gaza or critical of the Trump administration's policies as a bar to entry to the United States.
We are also closely following developments out of the Middle East, where Hamas says it is reviewing a ceasefire deal that Israel already said it supports. How significant is the proposal that's on the table?
Well, we are close to a deal, but no one is celebrating yet, Lindsay, because we have been here many times before. The last ceasefire agreement broke down almost 3 months ago. And since that time, there has been a blockade of aid going into Gaza, and there has not been any breakthrough in talks. Now, where we are at the moment is that Israel and Hamas appear to be close to a deal that would include a 60-day ceasefire, the exchange of certain hostages that are held by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian prisoners, and the resumption of aid into Gaza, as well as some IDF redeployments from part of Gaza as well. However, sticking points remain. Hamas wants a permanent ceasefire to be part of any negotiation, and Israel wants all hostages back. So there still are some gaps, but Hamas says that it is reviewing Special Envoy Steve Witkoff's proposal, and the White House has said it is optimistic that a deal will be announced soon.
Let's talk about Russia's war in Ukraine. Our media partners at the BBC report Ukraine is accusing Russia of undermining the next round of peace talks. They're set to kick off Monday in Istanbul, Turkey. And Senator Lindsey Graham said Friday the Senate plans to move ahead with a new round of sanctions on Russia. Where do things stand?
Well, Russia certainly appears to be playing a stalling game. Vladimir Putin has spoken by phone with President Trump. Russian officials have met with U.S. negotiators. Ukrainian officials have met with U.S. negotiators. But so far, Vladimir Putin does not appear willing to meaningfully engage in negotiations. Instead, it looks like he's just stringing negotiators along. All the while, Russia implemented its largest bombing campaign in weeks just this week, including striking residential areas in Kyiv. We know that the next round of talks is scheduled in Istanbul on June 2nd, and for now, it appears that Ukraine will send representatives. President Trump has said he might consider punishing Vladimir Putin instead of praising him if Putin doesn't change his behavior, but the Senate and Congress might move before President Trump decides to trade carrots for sticks. And the Senate may pass legislation, veto-proof legislation, that would impose more sweeping sanctions on Russia for its activities in Ukraine.
All right, Sam Vinograd, thank you.
Thanks.